Hey, small group. So today we are looking at the prophets. So this is for the week of January 24th. So our scripture for this week was Amos chapter 8, verses 1 through 12. And I encourage you to reread that as we look at the prophets and what God was asking the prophets to do. Maybe you have a favorite prophet. Maybe you love the prophet Isaiah, and I encourage you to reread some of your favorite scripture. I love the prophet Micah, as you can see behind me. This way, the love, justice, do justice, love, kindness, and walk humbly with our God. That's kind of try to guide my life around. So, what are some of those prophets that have spoken in your life that you always find yourself drawn to? Jonah is another one of those prophets. You always might remember. I know it feels like years ago. One summer, I guess my first summer, we did Jonah as a sermon series, and I just love Jonah. Again, a prophet for God who had to go to his enemy in order to share God's good news. He didn't want to because he knew that God was a righteous God and that they were going to turn from their wicked ways. So he did it begrudgingly, and the people turned from their wicked ways, and God spared them. Did not make Jonah happy, but God used Jonah to do that. Think about too our modern day prophets. Who are those modern day prophets who speak into your life? I mentioned the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Maybe as we celebrated and remembered Dr. King's birthday, you reread some of his famous speeches or famous letters or looked at some quotes. I know social media was full of his quotes. So I encourage you to reread one of those letters. Another modern or modern day type prophet from the last century I would consider is Mother Teresa, a woman who devoted her life to being with God's people and especially the least among us, the least of these. One of the quotes that I found I wanted to read to you, she said, "It's easy to love the people far away. It's not always easy to love those close to us. It is easier to give a cup of rice and relieve hunger than to relieve the loneliness of pain of someone unloved in your own home. Bring love into your home, for this is where our love for each other must start." So I encourage you to reflect on this beautiful Mother Teresa quote. How are we called to love the people in our own home? How are we called to love the neighbors right around us? Sometimes it is easier to love our neighbors we don't know because they don't annoy us, right? They don't constantly park where we don't want them to park or leave stuff on our lawn or do things that get under our skin. Instead, we like to love the people who are so far away. But Mother Teresa is calling us to love the people in our own homes, right around us. That's where love must begin. Because the truth is, if we can't love the people we live with, the people in our own homes, we're not really loving others because we haven't begun it at home. I think of the greatest commandment, the two greatest commandments, love the Lord your God and love your neighbor as yourself. I've had to work on loving myself because the truth is, if I don't love and forgive myself, I'm not really loving and forgiving others. It's not that true, genuine love if I can't do it to myself. If I can't forgive myself, offer myself grace, am I really offering it to others? So I encourage you to think about the prophets. Think about what God is telling you to do this day. And as always, I am here for you. I'm praying for each one of you, and let me know how I can specifically pray for you. Have a wonderful week.